This episode of Housing for Good is brought to you by listeners and supporters just like you. If you believe in creating safe, stable, and affordable housing for everyone, consider supporting the McPherson Housing Coalition. Your donation helps us provide housing solutions, support services, and hope to those who need it the most. To donate, visit our website, McPhersonHousingCoalition.org. All donations are tax deductible. Thank you.
Welcome to Housing for Good, a podcast dedicated to housing topics and issues affecting our communities in McPherson County and beyond. With years of experience and expertise, hosts Chris Goodson and Karolyn Moore discuss housing challenges and opportunities with other experts from a variety of housing fields.
Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Housing for Good. I'm Karolyn.
And I'm Chris.
All right, Chris, what do you got for news this time?
So I have Brush Up Mac for news today. We have, I felt like we had a very successful Brush Up Mac. How many volunteers do you think we had this year, Karolyn?
Ooh.
A couple hundred? Was there?
Oh, yeah, at least a couple hundred. Because I know of a church and one industry business that brought in over 100 between those two alone.
Yeah, one was 60.
And one was 40.
And what church was that?
That was Freedom Chapel.
Yeah, that was really awesome.
Yeah.
You know, they've been really good about coming every single year and being a part of that.
Well, and they come and they take 5 or 6 houses.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And then Pfizer, they had 40?
Pfizer had 65-ish volunteers.
Wow.
And they worked on 8 houses for us.
Oh,
we were able to do a total of 30 houses this year.
That's amazing. It wasn't on one day because they worked on different days, but that was incredible. I don't think people realize that Brush Up Mac's been around for almost 20 years. We were trying to figure that out. Bonnie Hoffman and I were part of the very beginning, and we're like, has this been 20? I don't know. We're going to pretend like it wasn't, and we're going to celebrate it next year because we can't remember exactly when it started. We've just been doing it for so long, and we didn't originate it, although several of us on the board were actually part of the original Brush Up Mac, and then McPherson Housing Coalition at one point stepped in and took over.
Yeah.
Because it made more sense. I mean, that's what we do. So anyway, it's been it was a great event. We helped, oh my goodness. I don't know, how many loads did we take to the dump?
I don't know, but it was 30 houses that everybody worked at. I know Carrie and I think we hauled 4 truck and trailer loads to the solid waste. And I know that you and your husband did a few loads.
Yeah,
and
Kip and I did several loads.
I have no idea. Like, Pfizer hauled their own stuff away.
Right. Derek and Tori, I don't remember how many they had.
I know.
They just had a trailer. They don't have a truck, but they had a trailer, and they took a lot of loads. So between the 6 of us, we really were able to get all that stuff to the dump, but it was a lot.
Well, and then I know following up, Ron and Carrie went out again, and they took stuff to the dump on Monday. So
thank goodness you have that giant trailer, right?
I know.
That was pretty awesome. But anyway, so thank you to the people who participated, and we hope we made a difference in the lives of all the families that we were able to help.
Yeah, we've already gotten a couple of thank you cards, which we never ask for, but it's nice to get that in their own words and their own handwriting about how they were helped.
And I love the fact that the one lady, I don't remember her name, but she's 102. Is she 102?
She's 103.
Oh, 103. I'm wrong.
Her name is Connie Ketterman, and I got to go give her a hug. So,
brother.
I know. I know. But that's what makes Brush Up Mac so special is the relationship that not only us at McPherson Housing Coalition have with the folks that we've helped year after year, but also the volunteers in these different teams that come back and say, hey, we want this person or we want that person. We were there last year or this is our 5th year or whatever.
Yeah, so that is pretty special. So the other news we had is we came last week. Was it last week or the week before? I don't even know. I'm so confused. We were at the summit.
Yes.
That was so much fun going to the summit. So that's a housing and homelessness conference that's put on every year. And they asked us to come and do our podcast live. So we did. Yeah. So you're probably hearing a lot of those now.
Yeah, I know
that was really fun.
The first episode of 3, People Talking, has been released. So there'll be subsequent ones. We have to put those out over a period of time because we want to keep the podcast short so people can listen to this on their way as they're driving to work. or wherever they're headed. So
you don't think they want to listen for an hour and a half?
No. Even if I listen to a podcast that's an hour long, I'm breaking that baby up into two or three times.
Know, right?
So.
We don't even listen to ourselves half the time, so there's that. But anyway, okay. So this is serious now.
Yes. So we are going to resume our conversation with Kym Crupper. Mm-hmm. Kym is our case manager currently, and we were talking about Section 504 and IEPs and kind of just her experience walking through that situation, because it's a very lengthy situation. So,
and I have to say that I'm very frustrated about the whole situation myself. It's not even my child, but I'm very frustrated. So I'm ready to take whatever it is and march up there and do the thing. But I've been controlling myself because it's not my child.
Yeah,
whatever consequences happen because of my behavior, I don't want to have on the child, right?
Yeah.
So I've been able to control myself, but it's frustrating as me as an advocate watching this whole thing play out. So we're going to hear from Kym about where we're at with that, because I think everybody's going to want to know, hey, what happened with that?
Yes. Hi, I'm Kym, and there's not a whole lot to talk about here because there's not a whole lot changing.
So you didn't get a 504. You have not gotten an IEP.
Nope.
But you've gotten a few modifications for her.
So I got originally a few modifications for her in regards to a texture cushion seat so that she can wobble on it, right? And privacy folders for when she's quizzing so that she's not watching other people. Oh, they're getting done this fast, and she can't see a timer going, because I know that was a really big trigger for her. But since that first meeting, there hasn't been any changes to anything. I know this last meeting, everything went well. They told me that she's doing well in class, that she is getting all of her assignments turned in, and planner isn't always getting signed, which the planner's not always making it to me. So we discussed ideas like me having my own sticky note to remind myself to ask for backpack, is she doing her homework and stuff like that. So, because I know if it's not in my face, it's gone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So really, we haven't gotten very far. Now, the school year is almost over. So we started this in March. No, it might have even been before March. You didn't even get a meeting until March. It was months. It was at least weeks before you got the meeting. So we started in February, had a meeting in March, and I actually attended that meeting. And I think I upset a few people, but that's okay. Honestly, I don't care if I upset a few people. If I can get something done for a child, I will go to the end of the earth, quite honestly. So that happened in March. So now we're at the end of April. Oh, no, it's May. Today, it's May. We're in May.
Yeah.
So it's May, and it's like we're not much further ahead.
Yeah.
And it was my understanding that 504 was automatic if you have a diagnosis. Maybe it's not. If you know that I am totally wrong about this 504, email me, send in a thing. We would love to hear from somebody that is part of a school system or handles kids that are struggling, or I don't know what the proper words are, but if let us know. Email in and tell me, oh, Chris, you are full of it. This is how it works. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I mean, let's get some dialogue going on this, because if you're struggling and you have Karolyn and I who are a little crazy as advocating for you and helping you a little bit, what's it like for somebody who has nobody?
Right.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's just my thing.
Yeah. And it is difficult. And so if nothing happens between now and school getting out, then on day one, does this get picked up? Or
what happens?
Like, are you back at the starting point?
So at the beginning if nothing changes now by the end of the school year, then the principal told me to reach out to the principal and the teacher that she's going to have next year, because there is a lot of change happening coming up. I know we've got a superintendent change. I know the principal of Lincoln's changing. Scarlett's going to start at Roosevelt. So then it's going to be a whole different system going on. However, the GEI that she has established right now with all of her modifications stays in her file, and that file follows her to wherever school she goes to.
Good.
So,
well, at least that part's there, but it is frustrating, because wouldn't it be nice to go to a new school and have that all set up.
Yeah.
Right? And so the beginning of school is always stressful anyway. That's just my thoughts as a parent who had a child that really struggled. And anyways, okay, so let's move on to this reaching families. So how do we reach families without stable housing, phones, or internet? How does that even work?
Well, that's a terribly good question, because I know we went over that last time. Is if they don't reach out, they don't always. Everybody doesn't always know that they are struggling with stuff. Yeah,
and I think sending notes home with kids. We all know sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes it doesn't.
But I know the one thing that we always tell folks when they're reaching out for housing situations is that if you send in a Section 8 housing application to Cowley County, because that's where the McPhersons are held at, if you change your number, if you change addresses before they reach out to you to give you that voucher, they're going to call you once.
Right.
And then after that, they're going to move your file to the bottom.
They're going to kick you off the list
more than likely.
Yeah.
Go on to the next person. So we need for, I guess, our listeners to know that if you are unstable in any housing or support services or whatever, or you have a child that's struggling, if the appropriate agencies don't have contact information for you, that makes it really hard for them to do their job and can be highly frustrating for you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so how do we build trust with families who feel judged or disconnected in the work that we do? How would you say that we can build trust with people? Because I know that they want us to help them, but at the same time that, they have their walls up, they don't trust us. That's why a lot of times they don't always tell us the exact truth, or they make it sound some kind of way that isn't, it's swayed their way, like they did nothing wrong, which isn't always the case. Sometimes you do what you have to do based on survival, right?
Yeah.
So what do we do? How do we build trust with them so they'll tell us the truth? Because we can't help anybody if they don't tell us the truth, right? Because you always say, Karolyn, that nothing makes you madder than somebody lies to you.
Yeah. Well, the truth of the matter is, I don't really care what it is that is facing you, what problem you've got going on. I will help you with anything. But if I don't know about the problem, I can't help you about the problem. So just tell me the truth. Don't lie to me, and we'll work through it. So
I would say bring yourself to their level in a matter of speaking. I mean, obviously all three of us have been at that level, right? So I feel being in this position where we almost look like we're at a better position than where these people are. If we are honest with them and tell them a little bit about our story, it might make them more comfortable in opening up. I'm entirely too open with certain things and share too much of my life. But if you're stonewalling these people, then they're not going to want to share with you anyway.
Yeah. Yep. Good
so
point.
There has to be a balance between, you can't be their friend because you have to have that professional level.
Right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're desperate and they don't understand boundaries.
Yep.
And so you have to be really careful. But at the same time, you have to be approachable. So it is a tricky balance between having that professionalism and being approachable. In my mind, it's really, really important that you figure out how can I balance that. As an appraiser, I will say, as an appraiser, I can do that very well. But the people that I'm working with usually are not. They're in stable housing. I mean, I'm dealing with a whole different clientele.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but sometimes people are not open with me either. Like they don't want to tell me stuff, or they're afraid I'm going to call the county and tell them all about their house or whatever. No, I don't do that. I promise. I don't call the county and tell on you. But so they're not always open with me or not. But if you can just figure out that balance, it's going to make you a lot more successful in dealing with people.
Yeah.
Period.
So one thing that we work really hard to do at the Housing Coalition is figure out what resources are out there and how do we get our clients the help that they need for the different situations that they face. So what would you say to somebody that is needing resources for food, clothing, or school supplies? What do you know about that? Quiz time.
Quiz time. Oh, no.
I have a little cheat sheet right here looking in a great A, B, C. No.
Well, we actually have a resource sheet written up that has all sorts of resource different things around the community that we utilize. We've got a couple churches that are on there. We've got...
Okay, so these are resources for McPherson County.
Yes.
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 Okay.
I will say this, too. McPherson Housing Coalition, we have an amazing website. Thank you, Joey.
Yes.
And on there, you can find pretty much every resource that's in McPherson County if you just go to that website. Can't you just
that's true,
click
yes.
on a downlink thing? And
that's true.
You type it in and it'll...
Yep.
I think does it show you a photo or just the description? I thought you guys took photos and everything else when you did that.
It's got photos on most things. And so that resource list you mentioned, if it's on that page, most likely it's on our webpage.
Mm-hmm. And it's every city.
Yeah.
I know you did everything. So our website is McPhersonHousingCoalition.org.
Yeah.
So go visit there. Or here's the other part, too. If you need help, I think there's a button that says, I need help.
Yeah.
I would recommend that you do that. First thing, that's the first thing you need to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The other thing that's probably not on that resource page, just thinking in my brain, school supplies. Mm-hmm. So I know that the middle school has a supply closet. And I know in the past, our church has done backpacks full of...
So what church would that be, Karolyn?
Well, it was the Free Methodist Church, and they would do backpacks with school supplies in them. I also think that the paramedics did a school supply drive.
That was so fun last year.
I think there's different places that we don't always know, and maybe it changes every year.
Yeah.
But there are agencies out there that try to put together those school supplies, because I know when you're enrolling your child, the fees and then everything you got to buy, that can be really, really stressful. So
yeah, if you have a bunch of kids, man, whoo. You know, I always had mine real separated. There was like a lot of years between them, so it wasn't bad. I had a 1 and then I had 2, so that was really good. 14 years apart, son.
I know. Okay. So along that line, Kym, how could our schools connect families without the stigma of, oh, they're getting free meals, or, oh, they don't have all their school supplies, or... Have you had any experience with that?
Well, I know that we're on the free meal list because of our situation. And I know that I wrote a check out to them for something unrelated, and they're like, that's already been paid. Well, this check is already made out to you guys. So they're like, do you want it back, or do you want me to throw it towards something else? I said anonymously throw it at the kids that need their bills paid.
Oh, that was cool.
So, like, don't make it to be such a big thing when these parents and kids are unable to pay their food bills. Like, we're all struggling, you know? And so if you stop pointing fingers at the different things that we're already struggling on keeping up with things, that's what I would have to say is just bring it down a notch and step into their shoes, right? What would you feel uncomfortable with? Let's point fingers at this subject. Let's take a step back.
There is a lot of judgment, I think. People don't realize it because they don't understand if they've never walked in that. If you've been if you were born middle class or upper middle class and you've always had what you need, and your parents aren't really big about volunteering, because there's a lot of people out there, and I'm not judging that way either, but that's just how you are. You take care of your own family, and you do your thing, and you go to church, and you do all your stuff, or whatever that looks like for your family. You don't think about that, right? That doesn't even cross your mind that maybe you could go to the school and say, hey, I want to pay for every kid's lunch that is overdue right now. I want to pay for every one of those kids' lunch. Every one of them. I mean, that's something simple any parent could do that's really doing well. It's like go to the school, pay for that. Just like you did. I mean, you're like, hey, take this check and pay for this for somebody else who is moving forward. I know, and the other thing that they do sometimes, that I don't know if this still happens, but if a kid doesn't have money, they'll give them something. And it's obvious why you just got a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and everybody else got a hot meal. Well, does it really cost you that much extra to give them what everybody else has? Really?
Right.
You know?
And I know from when I went and ate lunch with my grandkids at the school is if the kiddos have something on their tray that they're not going to eat, they can set it aside when they leave the room And then other kids can see that, oh, there's an extra milk, or there's an apple, or somebody's not going to eat their carrot sticks. You know, whatever it is.
I wouldn't eat my carrot sticks either.
They could go there to the spot where this extra food is, because others are just going to throw it away, and they could help themselves.
Yeah, so that's really good. I would have most of my food over there on the giveaway food plate. Oh, there you go. I have a whole meal for somebody. There you go. I'm not eating that.
Oh, goodness.
I think I snuck food in for my grandchild, my kids or grandkids, when we came to visit. I wasn't eating that. I'm terrible. I'm sorry. Anyway, okay, let's get back to it. So I do want to bring this back, though. So when a child is hungry or worried about where they're going to sleep, what they're going to eat, learning becomes very difficult. I mean, so let's bring all this down. We're talking and making jokes about all this, but it really is extremely serious. So if your child has some type of a learning disability, they've had some instability, that makes it even harder. So that's why it's really important that we get this stuff stabilized, right? They know they're going to have lunch at school. They know they're not going to get something different, and they know they're going to be treated the same. We have to bring that back for that child. So they love to be at school. We want to create an environment where kids want to be at school. They love it. They have friends. They feel supported. They're not being bullied. I think that is so important for later in life.
Oh, yeah.
So whether they want to go on to college, or they want to go to tech school, or they want to go into a job, or whatever that looks like, we've got to make that the most incredible place that they want to be, so that they learn and get what they need. Because we're not talking about just today. We're talking about the future.
Yeah.
The future of our community, the future of the country, the future of the world, depending on what that child does.
Yeah.
So that's why this stuff, we're making jokes, like I said, but that's why this is so important, and we have to bring it back to why does this matter? Well, that's why it matters.
Well, and I find it interesting. I just thought about this while you were talking. You can see it in kids where they're struggling to be housed and have regularity in their life. You can almost see it in the behavior. They're kids that are acting out and being crazy at school and bullying and stuff like that. And that goes back to, if your child is any different than, that has an IEP, a GEI, a 504, if the teachers and staff are treating your child differently, the other kids see that.
Oh, yeah.
So if the kids see that from the adults, they're going to want to start bullying and treating those kids a different way. So I just, that was something that I thought
think
about.
that's great. And I think what happens is teachers get really frustrated with, I had 2 boys with very severe ADHD, one of them especially. And so one of them is extremely frustrating. And the kids see that, right? They don't want that kid in their classroom. He's doing all kinds of crazy stuff. My other one was calmer, and he always managed to get the really good teachers who could understand and connect with him well. So he always did amazing. But unfortunately, that's the case, is we're dealing with real people who may or may not have signed up to deal with kids that are struggling.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? You're supposed to be a general ed teacher, and you didn't sign up for this necessarily, but I'm sorry, this is just what's there. And and we have to figure out, are we training our teachers well enough? Because that was the one thing about your deal that I noticed was, I said the first time I saw your daughter, I noticed immediately there was something there, because just from my own experience. And she said, oh, yeah, I saw it too. And I thought, oh, you saw it too. Why did you do nothing? Why did you not call the parent? Why did you not? Why did we do nothing? Why did it take us to go crazy for you to do what your job was?
Well, and I'm finding it that not only this district, I've seen it in when we were living in Washington as well. We have some rigid teachers. There is no wiggle room. They were taught this way, and this is how they're teaching the kids, and they have a hard time with kids that have these disabilities and things. So I worked with a few wonderful teachers over there at Lincoln, and their flexibility, their ability to change their lesson plan just real quick. It was incredible to watch, and having these teachers that are so rigid that they're not paying attention to these kids at all. They have a lesson plan, and that's it.
Yeah.
So what would you say would be your very best advice for parents if they see their child struggling what should they do tomorrow? What would be the first thing that you would have them do?
Struggling in what, housing?
No,
With
struggling with school. The child is struggling. And then that means the parent is struggling because now you don't understand what's going on. Just take it back to your situation. You knew your daughter was struggling. How would you now, having gone through a couple months here like you have, what would you say was the very first thing that you should do, telling somebody brand new?
Well, to be honest, I started off with getting a hold of Topeka. What is that?
Department of Education.
Department of Education. Yeah, I got a hold of them back, I don't know, November-ish, and talked to them about what to do, how to pursue IEP 504, what. And they said, well, ask for an IEP meeting. Okay. Mind you, life got in the way, as I said before, and I didn't start pursuing it until February. But I would reach out to the Department of Education first off so that you can get the information that you need. I know they said reach out to the principal, but then that would be strictly just to request the IEP meeting. Do not talk further. That was where my mistake was, is more conversations happened with the principal, and they're almost trying to talk me down from the meeting. Ask for the meeting, get a date. Okay? So from there, have an advocate with you. I would definitely recommend it, because if you're a single parent like myself, you're so easily talked down to. So having an advocate there for you and your child, just to make sure that your child is getting, both of you are getting what is needed to further their education.
So you feel like that, is there any place locally to go to get this ball rolling, or do you really feel like you almost need to educate yourself going into it about maybe what the options are?
With so much change happening this summer, I'm not entirely sure how I feel about local stuff. I would for sure reach out to Topeka to start the process at this very moment. Mind you, in a few months, once everything settles down from all the change, it's very possible that we have a solid person in town to reach out to on starting that process. But for now, I would definitely reach out.
And for our audience, it doesn't matter where you live, whatever state you're living in. So for us, it's the Kansas Department of Education. California would be the California Department of Education. So just Google that or chat it or whatever you use to look for things. And you should be able to find a website and a contact information. And they're very good about telling you, what you can do, how to start the process. I think as parents, we get really emotional sometimes. That's what was happening with you. I think you were getting too emotional. And so the principal was trying to react to your emotions. Right. And so that's what happens a lot of times. We get too emotional. My husband and I, when we go into an IEP meeting, he would write everything down, what we knew that we needed, and read it. So that I'm mouthy, so I usually did things. But he would read it, and then it really would freak him out because he knew exactly what was allowed, what wasn't allowed, what our child needed, and he just wrote it all down. And you kind of did that when we went to that first meeting. And I just want to say that we have a great system here, and I know that teachers have to take on a lot, and they're expected to do things. So I don't want to think in any way that we're saying teachers are not doing their job in our district or anybody else's, because they are expected to do things now that maybe they weren't when we were growing up.
Yes.
Carolyn and I mostly, I don't know about you because you're younger than us, maybe Joey too. But anyways, so I just want to just put that out there. We are in no way, but we just want them to understand these are real things that are happening within our district. And I'm guessing across our nation and maybe internationally, where parents who themselves have had some struggles and now their kids are struggling. And it's a fight to get what they need, or it's a misunderstanding, or whatever that looks like. So I just want to say that. So because I love teachers. I have several in my family. My son's girlfriend's a teacher. My daughter-in-law's a teacher. So we have all these people, and we love them, and we love what they do.
And I will say that when you and I were growing up, the school system, the way it is now, what the teachers are expected to do and to deal with, I don't remember any of that. when I was a kid growing up.
If you were bad, they took you to the principal's office and you got a SWAT.
You got a SWAT.
I heard Johnny screaming from my classroom. So they're not allowed to do that anymore.
I agree.
Yeah.
We love our teachers. I appreciate the school system we have and everything they do. But what we've been talking about is just how sometimes if you're struggling with housing stability and other things are going on, how our kids kind of fall through the cracks because everybody's overwhelmed. And so we're just saying take a harder look at it.
Right.
We need to make sure that every child gets a fair chance at education, no matter what their circumstances are. And that is going to look different depending on your walk in this life. And like you said, middle class, upper middle class, low income.
It's all different.
It makes a difference. So, all right, we've got to wrap this up.
I know, it's been a good interview.
It's so easy to lose track of time when we're doing this.
I love this. Yeah.
Okay. If you would be interested, or you know somebody that would be interested in being on Housing for Good, or you want to leave a review, ask us a question.
Ask us about the 504 or answer our 504 question.
That's right. Give us a response to anything you hear on our shows. We welcome that. And you can do all of that at housingforgood@mcphersonhc.org. Thank you.
And have a great day.